And we're back once again. Thanks for tuning in to the Still Nick Fans podcast. This is episode 9. I'm your man Ron. This is my brother John. What's happening, bro?
What's going on?
Hey
How you
man,
been? How you been?
we're here. We're here to do it one more again, as I like to say. And I'm happy. I'm
Oh,
happy.
okay. Yeah, we coming off some good wins, huh?
Yeah, this is great, man. It's fun to be a Nick fan right now. I saw a lot of things on the Twitter, a lot of tweets.
Twitter
And
universe is on
yeah,
is,
people
is
people
going
are hype.
crazy.
They're hype right now. I mean,
Yeah,
listen,
yep.
win is a win. What it doesn't matter what the teams are. You got to still win the games. You can lose to the best team. You can lose to the worst team. Don't matter.
Listen, I mean, we fought through a hard schedule the first half. So now that we're coming into kind of like what some would consider the easier part of our schedule, we got to take advantage of that. Coming off a tough loss against Miami,
Yeah,
which a heartbreaker. That was one that we were like, man, if only we got one or two more calls, go our way. But
it's tough, man. It's tough. And the fact that they had two games against Miami, and both games were close games. They were good games down the
sure,
stretch.
it's so true. It's so true. And like that's the kind of team that you look at and you're like, okay, if we can match up with Miami, who made it to the championship, in the bubble, then that's where we're headed in the right direction. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna start by saying I wasn't a fan of the Derrick Rose move, but man, he's coming with it, man. He's coming with it, and this is part of my fear because although Quickly is playing with him on the second unit, which is you called it, you called that one. I see the fanfare. You know what I mean? And that's a it's Rose is that guy now. People are looking forward to. He pushes the pace. He does everything really really well. So you know,
Hey, man, you're right. It is true. Rose is definitely, he gets up and down the court, and he's a professional player who has a really good skill set. The skills may
right,
not be what they were, but really the skills are the same. It's just he don't have the same bounce,
right.
and the little bounce he does have, he tries to reserve because he wants to
Hmm.
be, careful and cautious because he can still
Right.
dunk. Whether or
Yeah.
not he chooses to is a different story.
Right.
But yeah, no, because when he had that little up and under move, classic Derrick Rose, I
Woo!
was like, yeah, man, it's still there. It's in there. Just he's reserving it. It's reserved. But
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
He was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go on you." No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna go over here.
yeah,
I'm gonna do it up on you.
no,
You know what I like most of, man, is that he's been getting everyone involved, man. Like Toppin is getting touches. You know what I mean? He pushes the ball. He's getting them in open spots. He's finding them. Now Toppin just got to get used to being ready to shoot the ball. You know what I mean?
yo,
But that's gonna
sometimes Toppin gets it. He's just like, oh,
come. I caught it when I watched it like during the breaks. They had a break, and then him and Rivers were talking about the jump shot. They were talking about the jump shot, and it looked like Rivers was like you when you got to flick your wrist, you got to like let it, and it seemed like when he hit the three coming back into the game, he hit a three, and he pointed at Rivers like yeah. I was like that's hilarious.
yo, because the
That
first
was
one, man, that thing was like launched. I was like, yo, what's up, bro? He's
he
yo,
missed. He hit the other side of the backboard. I was like, yo.
No, but you can't be you can't be mad at the kid because he's just so like Thibodeau got him on a short leash. Like, look, you would be out there and do something. He's stressed.
It's all good though, man. He's playing hard, man. He's playing hard, so
No,
that's
no.
all you can ask for.
I
He
will tell you.
rebounds well.
I will tell you though. Um, I said it before, which was I was very excited about the fact that watching Derrick Rose's interview when he first got to Madison Square Garden and how
Yeah.
he talked about he knows his role and what he needs to do. He was saying all the right things, and then what quickly said that he sat down with them. They went to dinner, him and Obi, and he talked about
That's what we
getting them
want to
in
see.
the game. He talked about he told quickly, listen, I'm gonna get you in certain spots, but I want you to be able to do your thing. You do how
Right,
you play how you play.
right,
So that's great, man, because that's the good thing about having a guy who comes in to the team who's been around for a while. He's had so much
right.
adversity. He's been a superstar. He's a star still,
Yeah,
I would say. Just
yeah. He's a star.
he's lower level,
Hmm.
but he's still a star.
No, I don't even think he's lower level. In my opinion, I think he's like upper echelons. I just also think that he knows he's in a better place.
It
I
could be
think
that
he's an
too.
upper echelon type of player. I think if he can start in any team, I
Yeah,
think, and he can bring what he's bringing. But I just think that he's in a different place in his life where he's noticing that there's more to life than just where people perceive him to be in basketball. You know what I mean? And I think that sort of maturity has clicked for him. And because of all the adversity and everything he's dealt with,
right,
he's coming to this new situation with all the people that he had on his side from jump, because he said it, World West and Tibbs, those are his guys from since high school. You know what I mean? And he's coming into this team knowing the history with them and knowing that they have his back.
right.
He's like, I ain't got no care in the world. So all I could do is just teach and be that mentor. You know what I mean? And that's just going to make the team better. And I just think he still has it, in my opinion. Like I
No,
would still consider him LeBron
yeah,
type.
you're right. You're right. Because I was just about to say something that I was thinking about it. Do I feel like if you told me, Derek, I need you to go out here and get me 30 points? Yeah, he can get 30 points. So I don't want to say, I didn't want to say it like that. More of, I mean it in the way of his body. Cause he
Right,
can
right,
go out
right,
every night and drop 20 to 30 points if you need him
right.
to do that. But the wear and tear on his body will
Mhm.
eventually affect him and he's going to break down. But
Right,
yeah, he still can do it. It's just that,
right.
right. Um,
And he's not the young kid. No, like he's not the young bull anymore. He's the elder statesman, but
yeah,
can bring it. I mean, we seen what Melo did the other day. He had like 24 or something like that, right? Although I think Melo's declined a little bit more at this point in his career, than he is older than Rose too, and I think Rose just has a little bit more pep in his step right now. But
hmm
I both quality players, can't take nothing from them.
yeah. No, I agree. And the other thing I was thinking about too is, um, if you notice the fact that it might be one of the better trades that you could think of in recent history because of the fact that not only does he come in having the ability to take over the game, he knows how to get other guys open, and
Hmm.
he is a star player that other people looked up to at one point. Even guys on this team looked up to him.
Yeah,
It's a great quality to have, man.
yeah, and they all respect him. And all around the league, you look at guys. Even LeBron himself has said it. He's a superhero. You know what I mean? In their eyes, he's a superhero. In their eyes, he's one of those guys who you ain't gonna sleep on because he can bring it. And at any moment, he can get you. So it's like you put that respect on a person like that, and then what he's bringing with Coach Tibbs, that kind of mentality, like he's playing defense, like he was, cutting off the lanes, and just getting involved, and
Yep.
I love to see that, and then it's rubbing off on Payton. You seen Payton and who Wall?
And Wall were going at it, man. That was
I was
nice.
like,
Yeah.
yo, I was like, that's what I'm talking about,
Yeah,
So
that's nice. I hear you. I agree with you, man. It's great, and I think that just there's gonna be some adversity. There's gonna be some days where maybe he doesn't have it, but
right,
he still goes out there and does what he needs to do for the rest of the guys, and gets them in good spots, and hopefully that trend continues. And the
yeah,
good thing about having him, maybe he can be more of a stabilizer too, because the Knicks go into ruts when they can't score or they can't
true,
find good baskets to get them out, and maybe that's going to be where he really shows how important he is when he can get that bucket when you haven't hit a bucket in like 5 tries or whatever. You
yeah.
know,
I think we went through a little bit of that. Like I think we went back and forth like 3 possessions, and we didn't score anything. And he was like, "All right." and then he'd score one of those little teardrops or little jump hooks or whatever that he does. I think the last person I think it was with Quickly and Bullock on the not Bullock, Burks on the floor, and we
Mm,
get in a couple of transitions. He wasn't the one shooting, and he was like, okay, and then we came off the timeout, and then he ended up scoring the bucket. It's like, okay, you know what I mean? Like we're back in action again. So I agree. That's a great assessment. Like I could definitely see that. And when you look at our past games and we run into these ruts in the third quarter,
hmm.
it didn't matter who we put in. We would just know no one was clicking,
Was it
So
just like it's like no one knows where the rim is anymore? They're just shooting. It's the square, right? you know, you know what's
exactly.
funny? Um, this is what's interesting. Now I don't know if this is going to be the case, throughout the whole rest of this year. But when they were playing Houston, and they got out to a nice good lead, um, and then Wall went nuts and he scored 10 points in a row or whatever, and cut the deficit,
Right.
dropped it down to I think it was either 10 or 9, right?
Seven.
7.
7.
Wow. So
Yeah.
that whole time, this was this is the first time this year that I had this feeling. That whole time that happened, I did not care whatsoever. All I said to
Right.
myself is, keep having your fun, Wall, because the second unit is going to come back in the game. And when they do, they're going to get the lead again and build the lead again.
Right.
That's how good I feel about this second unit right now, bro. This second
True.
unit is tight.
Even with Toppin, right? Like you're looking at like, okay, it's Toppin, but he's playing good enough, even though he may get beat, from time to time. But as a team with Gibson in there, you know what I mean? And even Noel, when Mitch was not injured, those few games, he played really well off the bench with
Yeah.
this second unit. So it's a testament to like Rose and what he brings because he could play off the ball, he could play with the ball, and it's so Cam quickly. Quickly is really
Hmm.
showing up like a really true and true two guard, off the ball strong with the ball in his hands, really strong. So love the combo. And Burks just brings that extra element where you can't double team anyone because you got Burks there who's legitimately right now. I think he's probably our best 3-point shooter right now as far as percentage, right?
Yeah, percentage
Because
wise,
I know it was
because
Bullock at
yeah,
one time, but
yeah,
percentage
no,
wise,
because but Burks started off so great. I mean, he was shooting 60 something
right,
percent before he got hurt. And so it went down a little bit when he
right,
got back, but now his stuff is starting to level out again because he's got his shots
okay.
back and he's getting legs. Because the thing about Burks, you can tell when Burks is not shooting well because Burks shoots line drives, and when
Oh,
he
meaning
shoot,
that, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah, it's straight. When he's
straight,
shooting
straight
good, it
shot,
has a little arc. You could tell it hits the front of the rim. It's straight. So
right?
you know, um, and this is what I told you before. I know we were talking about Rose and the concern of what he was going to do,
Yeah,
taking Quickly's minutes and all that stuff. And I mentioned, but you already knew that,
yeah.
Quickly came into the league, as a shooting guard, playing off
Hmm.
ball. And I'm
Right,
thinking in my mind, now that I see it, this is so much easier for Quickly. He don't have
yeah,
to think about finding guys in different spots. All he's got to do is worry about his game and shoot the rock.
right. But I love the mix though. Like it's not like they just like it seems like they're like, okay, they're sharing the ball. Like they're like, okay, you bring it up, you're gonna run the set this time. I'll take it, I'll run the set. But what the difference between Quickly and Rose is that Rose has a different change of pace
Hmm.
game. And I think he's always had that change of pace game. And I think Quickly has to develop it. You know what I mean? Where he could bring the ball up the court really fast and then slow the tempo down. You know what I mean? Get into sets. So he's got a good change of pace. Quickly is crafty. And
Crafty.
that's
Yes, that's
very
the word.
crafty.
He's
You know what I mean?
crafty.
He's very crafty and he's a great free throw shooter. So you can't go wrong
Yeah.
when you're crafty and you're a really good free throw shooter and you can hit the open threes or you can hit the tough threes because he's hit a couple of tough threes as well. Listen, we got a nice combination there of guard play because even Burks is a guard, but he's playing kind of the small forward too.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
Well,
I just like it. It's fun.
the good thing about another thing that I hope comes out of this too is I hope that Quickly and Rose work a lot together in practice, and maybe Rose can show him some pointers, some different things about, uh, you know, how
Hmm.
to use your first step to blow by guys, or even how to finish. Because the one
Yeah,
knock that I have on Quickly is he's more of a, like, he's got a throwback game. He's a
yeah.
really good shooter, but his shots are overhand. That's
Hmm.
why he uses the floater, because he's not an
Right.
underneath type of guy. He doesn't finish that way. Everything, and so it's funny because in the Houston game he did it twice.
He did
He
it
had
twice. The
two layups
underhand.
underhand. So I was like,
Uh,
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
I'm seeing
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
I like it. I like it.
It comes from practice, right? Like, and I think that's true. I think he is gonna give him some tips and some pointers. One of the interesting things that I also like, John Wall gave him his props. You know what I mean? Like, he's a fan of his. He watched him in college, and he talks to the kid on a regular basis. So that's good that he's getting a lot of good response from the NBA right now.
Hmm.
And it seems like he's got a lot of good mentorship, that like he can reach out to at any moment. Melo's
Yeah,
giving
that's
him
great.
the option, like all these, and then to have someone there with you who's been there, has done it, won an MVP at a young age. Like, you can't, that's, you can't buy that. Like, that's exactly what every young kid wants. So,
And he's also someone who had to learn how to change his game in order to stay
right,
relevant in the league. That's another good useful thing to tell rookie players who might be going too hard or full throttle. You got to slow the game down sometimes so that everything
right.
comes easier to you. This is great.
Yeah.
I don't know, I
And
think it's really good.
be able to adapt to the situation. It seems like he's very adaptable to anything that comes his way, anything that the coaches are asking him to do. And that's where a lot of young point guards don't really want to do, because they're stubborn. They're like, no, I'm a point guard. This is all I can do. You know what I mean? Like, and then that's when you start to lose minutes in the NBA, because that game and the NBA game has changed so much that there isn't like a specific, like, there's a lot of coaches that said there's no more point guards. There is no more shooting guards. It's just
Right.
guards. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? Like, or they'll say like, I can play three guards, versus playing two guards, or go four guard set if I want to. When you talk
yeah,
about the Warriors, they were the ones who kind of really like shift the paradigm with the
that's true.
guard play. So
That's a good point.
yeah, it's look, I'm having fun. I'm enjoying these games, man, and I know a lot of Knicks fans are. I'm not gonna overthink it. I'm not even gonna overthink any trades or within the trade rumor mill. Like, it is what it is. If it happens, it happens. If it don't, it don't. I'm good either way. You
I
know.
hear you. I hear you. Well, I was thinking about it, and so the Knicks had three games this week, right? We had Miami, we had Washington, and we had Houston.
Right.
And then, so along with that going on, we also got the introduction of the G League so far this year, which
True.
was cool to see. And I got to get on it. I'm finding where they show in these games and to be able to see them, because I am
Right.
interested. I want to
I
see
think
some
it's
of.
NBA TV, ain't it?
Is it on NBA TV? Because I
It
want to
might
see
be.
some of these guys. I'm gonna see if I can YouTube it, because I'd like to, go back and watch how some of these other guys that might be able to be a part of the team in the future are looking. And
Mhm.
when I say that, I'm really talking about the big guy, the 7 footer. Uh,
Oh, we got a 7 footer in the New
yeah,
York Knicks.
yeah, and he
I'm not familiar with him.
Yeah, it's something with an S, and it escapes me right now. I can't think of it. I'll figure it out. But yeah,
Okay.
I want to see how he plays. I noticed in the first G League game he had 10 points and about 8 rebounds or 9 rebounds, something like that. So he played
Right.
fairly decent. That game happened to be the game that um, Harper went off, had 31 points,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
I think he had 10 assists or something like that. And
I haven't followed, to be honest. I haven't followed.
Iggy went off in that game too. Iggy had 20
Mm,
something points and like 12 rebounds. See, this is what I'm talking
very
about.
nice.
Iggy upsets me, man, because I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because it's the pressure of being in Tibbs' system and knowing that he's not a
Mhm.
strong defender, just figuring out what to do on the
Right.
court. He's so much freer when you can go and just play.
It's also like, well, not only learning a system, but also minimal practice time. Like they didn't really get a chance to practice with the team. You know what I mean? Like they were already they had to do their what was that called? Where you had to get the conditioning done, and then some guys who were on the team were no longer with the team, and so
Right.
when you come back, you got a whole new group of players with some couple of players that came back, and then you just don't know where your place is, and you don't know if you're going to get any minutes. He just happened not to get any minutes because the folks that were getting the shots were Frank got a shot, Knox got a shot, DSJ got a little bit of a shot,
Mhm.
and that's preseason into then you start the season and you just fall out the rotation depending on if you practice well, for that week because they really only had like a week of practice.
Right.
So I mean, it's a tough thing, man. I mean, it's better that he went to the G League anyway to develop his defense, develop his game, get stronger, understand the system because I'm almost sure they're gonna run similar systems.
Hmm.
I'll be surprised if they don't.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It makes sense.
so then we'll see. We'll see next year if he comes into play and depends. It all depends on what we do this year, where we at in the draft, and are we bringing certain guys back? Are we not? And are we making any trades? It's all Listen, it would be nice if every Nick player that we bring in, there's like a college player that we draft, can actually make the team and be consistent. That would be nice, but that just hasn't been our past, and doesn't look like it's going to be our future either.
Yeah. It's not the reality. It just, yeah, he's like I think his game is more of he's like a specialty player. He's like to equate it to baseball, he's a specialty reliever. He's your lefty
Right,
reliever that comes in off the bench. He gets those guys out and he hits the bench again. Is what it
right,
is. But we'll see.
yeah,
I actually think he's going to get traded. I think he's going to ball out in the G League and he's going to
right.
wind up becoming an asset to the point that he can be
They can
shipped.
sign off to someone.
Yeah, but
That
we'll
makes
see what
sense.
happens.
It makes sense. Look, you could only really play. You have a roster of what, 15 players, and two of those are shirted, so they're not literally playing. So you got a 13-man roster who are wearing jerseys, and out of the 13, you got 10 or the 8 to 10 to play.
Right, right.
So, and that's all around that's an entire league. That's what it is. So
Excuse me.
we just got to keep building on those assets that we have, and getting stronger. I think we're doing a great job of it. I like what Leon Rose is doing. Right now he has my full confidence. If he turns around and just like pulls a crazy trade, I'm like, listen, I gotta see it. I gotta see it on the court before I even make a statement on it.
Yeah,
I gotta
because
see
I
it
mean,
play out.
I gotta tell you, this has been as far as a run of watching the Knicks improve and go through their little, course of learning different things and watching the front office do things. This has been the best stretch I've seen in a long time. I mean, many years,
Wow.
many years. So,
Like even when we were watching the mellow teams that were kind of winning that first year he came in, like we had like it was fun, but you never really knew. Like you were kind of like you could see the flaws. You were like, is that going to be a championship team? They need pieces. And then the
right,
following year, it just all fell apart. And you're like, So, you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
At least, this is the first year. We know what we get with Tibbs and that coaching staff. So listen, sky's the limit, you know?
Well, I know you don't want to really talk about trades, and you're not worried about that stuff right now. You're happy, you're content with the team. But
What you
some
got for me? What you got for me?
no, it's nothing really. No, it's something you already know about. It's just that I was thinking about it. I don't even want to say it, man, because I feel like I know that I might change my mind about it later. But right now, if there was a way that the Knicks could get Bradley Beal without
Mm,
giving up too much, but
right,
give up some key pieces with some picks.
right.
Because like maybe it was one of those things where we'd have to unload a bunch of picks to avoid giving up our core people. But if you said that we could get them for maybe, you know, a first this year and maybe a first next year and a first the year after that. And maybe you have to throw in a second too. Who knows? I don't know because it's Bradley Beal, bro.
Yeah,
But and then they wanted some play now assets like Kevin Knox, but they wanted one piece of the core. If that had to be
the core would be Barrett.
RJ Barrett, it's Mitch, Randall, and Quickly.
Quickly, yeah.
If that had to be one of those guys,
Uh-huh.
I would be okay with watching RJ go.
Yeesh. I
It's
feel the
tough.
opposite.
It's
I
tough
wouldn't
to
do it.
say, but I mean, Bradley Beal, man.
I'm looking at it offensively, you get the better player, but there is so much upside with Barrett. There really is. And defensively, the kind of defense he plays, I don't see Beal playing that sort of defense.
Well, I don't
He
know.
probably can,
I think
but
see that's the thing. I think Beal is like in a bad spot, man. I mean, he was talking the other day about his teammates and how, you know, I can only do this. I can try to pick up my man and pick up my man's man if the guy's not there, but that's all I can do. I can't guard other people. We can't do this. We have to figure out how to do it together as a team. He was talking like that, not trying to put anybody down, but he's saying like the effort has to be there. I just think
right.
he's in a bad space right now. You know what I mean?
But doesn't necessarily take away from what he could do against his man. You know what I mean? So that's a scapegoat, right? Like that to
Well,
me
I know, but
is
that's
like
the thing. He's torching his guy.
sort of a, but he's torching him offensively, but defensively he isn't doing it. You get what I'm saying? Like, look at what he's doing defensively on the guy he's supposed to be guarding. He ain't doing much, and he hasn't done much, and that's part of the reason why they're losing. So, for me, I like his scoring abilities, but I'm not going that route because Barrett is a better defender. Right now, at this moment in time, if I put them head to head and look at the games head to head defensively, Barrett plays better defense than Beal does. And I'm
Maybe he
looking at
does. Yeah, I don't know.
he does. He literally does. I mean, I've seen Beal get beat so many times off of a pick and roll or
Mm,
a backdoor, and it's like, what are you doing? You're not a young player anymore. You're a vet. He's a legit vet. He's got what 6 years
yeah,
already.
that's true.
You know what I mean? Like, come on. Like, you can't be getting caught backdoor. Now, that's something a rookie gets caught doing.
But you know, that could
You know
be
what I
the
mean?
thing. That could be the thing too. Is sometimes you get caught backdoor when you over pursue, and sometimes you over pursue when you know that if you don't like push up on this guy, if he gets past you, it's a bucket because you got nobody backing you up. I don't know. All I know is I looked at the Wizards team because we played them, and that team is in trouble, man. Like I thought they had more defensive players on the team. They're a sieve.
They're injured too, though.
No, that's true. They do got some injuries,
They
but
got
like
at least three
rough.
guys who have been starting on their team or playing key minutes on their team that are out. So, you know what I mean? Like, they don't have the deep bench that they wanted to have to start the season. So for me, and Bertans is just who he is. He's a shooter. He isn't much of anything else. I'm not sure why they paid him that kind of money, but it
I
is
mean,
what it is.
I don't think they're happy with the fact that they paid him 80 million for what he's producing. So
They should have done their scouting better. I mean, you should have knew that, like, going
yeah,
into it. He's a center who shoots the ball, and he's not going to do much of anything else. So, I mean, it wasn't like that information was not out there for them to do the research. It was out there. They
yeah.
had enough time to research him and really know what kind of player they were getting. I just think that they felt like first of all, they didn't know Wall was leaving. You know what I mean? And Wall's a special defender. Like, he's a special kind of defender. Where you don't get that with Westbrook. Westbrook isn't the same defender that Wall is.
No,
Westbrook is a guy who's going to get you rebounds. He's going to get you some blocks. He'll get you some steals from time to time, but he's not going to like wow you defensively. He's not going to like step up and lock someone down one-on-one. At least in the NBA, he may do that on other people, but in the NBA's game, it doesn't seem like he does that on a regular basis.
right.
And Beal doesn't do it. So you got both guys that don't do that on a regular basis. So what do you got? So
No,
I've
well,
never seen Beal do it in 6 years. I've never seen him in 6 years lock anyone down.
well,
Really haven't.
I don't think he's that type of defender. I don't think he's that type of defender. I'm just thinking that he could probably play good team defense in the right situation. If guys are
Yeah,
playing defense, he can help out. And when you're around guys that play defense, it can only help your game because you're gonna have to
right.
be a part of that, or they're gonna let you have it. They're gonna rag you. But I just want to say, I want to put this out there. I don't want them to trade for Beal. I actually don't want
Yeah,
them
yeah,
to
no,
trade.
I
I
agree.
don't want them to
I
trade for Beal or Levine now. I've
Right.
changed my stance on because I have a bad feeling that the Knicks are in win now mode.
Yep.
They know what they got, but I think organization wise and Tibbs wants to win now. He wants to get them in a better situation, and I think they might do something. It could be foolish. I think they might do something. I think.
I think they should though. I'm gonna take the opposite stance. I'm gonna say they still need to make a move to win games, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's not like I like the way I'm looking at it now, especially with the Rose move and the way they're utilizing quickly. I don't see quickly's role diminished in any way. I see that they're planning for his future and they're planning for Toppin's future. Outside of those two rookies,
Mhm.
everyone up is up for grabs. Everyone else is up for grabs, in my opinion. Like I'm not even focused like Barrett too, because I see them locking in with Barrett. So I think Barrett's locked in. I think quickly and Toppin. Those three we're keeping. I think that's where our future lies, and I think they know where the future lies. Now, unless you are able to like lock in on someone super special who can, who will like a team would like have to grab Barrett from you because I think that will be the only person who they would out of the three who they'll be willing to part ways with if it came to that.
Mhm.
Then that may be it. But I really think they're gonna look for for a move that they can move anyone else with some draft picks. I think there may be one or two draft picks that'll be pushed out alongside maybe a Kevin Knox and Franklin Akina, for the sake of, or maybe even Rivers, because right now he's not getting minutes and he wants to be, playing. He wants to play. You know what I mean? That's without a doubt. I don't know if he's working through injury right now. He may be, may not be. I don't know. But if he's healthy and he's gonna want to play some minutes, and that may be going to like a contending team or a
Right.
team that has some family ties to it. Could see him going to the Warriors. I could see a move there. You
Yeah.
know,
But that
um,
works. That
so
works.
we'll see. I don't know.
I'll be okay with that if the Warriors can use him as a complimentary piece, off the bench because the Warriors bench doesn't look that great to me. And I think they wouldn't mind having a little bit more, uh, you know,
Right.
skilled players on that bench to help them because they got a lot of young guys in that team too.
Would you do a 1-for-1 for base? What's his name? Basemore.
Oh yeah, without question. I don't think they
What's
do
his
it.
name? Is it
Yeah,
Basemore?
Bigelow. Yeah,
He was playing for the Hawks at one time, right? And
yeah,
got
yeah, yeah,
traded
yeah,
to,
yeah, yeah. I
but
like
like
Big.
not like a 1-for-1, but like let's say like a 2-for-1 where you give up two players, maybe a draft pick for Basemore.
Yeah, I think you'd have to do that because Bazemore is he's actually a really good defender.
Right.
So I didn't know that too much, but I was watching. I did
You
some.
could shoot too.
Yeah. Oh no, I like Bazemore. He's a good player. So yeah,
Yeah.
I would definitely do that. That's one of those pieces that, like I said, that would help the team
Mhm.
without breaking the bank and not saying,
Right.
"Hey, we're going for it," because they're not ready to go
Right.
for it. But it's
Right.
a helpful piece. Like
It's a step up too because he can play alongside Barrett. You know what I mean?
right, right.
Same thing with a Buddy Hield. I think you talked about Buddy Hield a few episodes ago. That's another good player who's could shoot the three, play some defense. You know what I mean? Like I like those guys.
Or
Um,
like maybe, although I didn't see that Reddick is not having the greatest of years right now. He's not. He's
right,
known for his shooting, and his shooting has been that great, which that's a little bit disturbing. But
right. Who is
maybe,
he with the Pelicans?
yeah, the Pelicans.
Yeah, is he playing any substantial minutes? Because I know he's doing a podcast, but is he playing substantial minutes?
I mean, on the podcast, he's a superstar, but yeah,
Facts.
yeah, nah, I don't know if he really
You don't
is.
know too much.
Yeah, yeah.
I know Lonzo's over there. Is he playing the two? Lonzo's playing the two or the one now?
Well, Lonzo, his minutes aren't the same either. So
Wow.
let me see here. I think because I am curious. JJ.
Well,
And
I'll
look at
tell
that.
you this while you're looking that up. I myself still would be open to talking to the Bulls about a Levine move because I really think that with guys like that, when you know that they aren't gonna that the Bulls aren't willing to pick up an option on a guy, you have leverage when it comes to negotiating. You know what I mean with a team. You know because they know they're gonna probably give him up for nothing at some
Yeah,
point. You know what I mean? So it's like guys like him and Drummond, where it's out there already, it's in the world. You know, they're talking about it. They already expressed that they don't want to re-sign those guys. So at that point, they just lost all leverage because they just told the world that they don't want to re-sign them. At
right,
that point, they're open market now. So now you have an opportunity to make your team better. You don't have to offer them any max, player situation or draft picks. You know, they may want it. You don't got to offer it.
it's a good point.
So I guess they never know. You never know. But Zach LaVine wouldn't be a bad look on the Knicks, to be
I
honest.
mean, no,
You know,
Zach Levine is never a bad look on any team. To be honest, yeah,
and he's like 26. He's super young, right?
yeah, he's like
Like
26,
he's
26.
young.
Yeah, I think he's 26 or 20.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because he
um,
came in like a Randall, I think.
I think
Because
you're right.
Randall's 26 also.
I
Yeah,
think you're right. Yeah, Reddick last couple games, 8 minutes, 15 minutes, 18 minutes. So he's averaging 18 minutes for the regular season, 8 points and 1.5 rebounds.
but
So
he's also not the focal point there. They're straight Ingram and Zion all day. You know, and they even got that rookie point guard who put some numbers up too, right? That young kid, fast, jumps out the gym.
yeah. This guy,
So
well, is what it is. You can't really say too much about it. He's a specialty type of player in the league too. You know,
right,
um, But we'll see what they wind up doing if they decide to do anything. I
right,
personally, this morning I took a look at the draft class once again. I like to update myself on how it looks here and there, and I
right.
also like to look at old. I looked at the old video of the draft class and where it was and where guys moved. So
Hmm.
in the draft video that I watched before, they had like Cade Cunningham number 1 and Jalen Suggs number 2. They had
Right,
Kuminga number 5. Well, let me tell you something.
right. Kaminga's
Kaminga
up.
is not number 5 anymore.
What
That,
is he?
that
3, right? Or
he's
2?
three. He's 3 now, but he's
Yeah.
moving up the more he plays. That he's a baller, man.
The kid is good, and he's got the size. That's the biggest difference. He's got the
Yeah.
size. NBA ready. So same thing with Jalen Suggs. Is like he's NBA ready. He's got the body. The body type. So
So that's the thing to
you
me.
know,
Like just playing hypothetical. If we were in a situation where the Knicks got the first pick in the draft, who do you take? Do you take the Cade Cunningham person who is a can't miss that everyone says like he's a guy, and plus he's a guard that can help your team and a good facilitator, or do you take Kaminga who could be a special player in the league? I don't know.
right? It all depends on where you at and what you're trying to develop, right? Like, are you developing the shooting guard, power, small forward position, or you want to go guard? Right now, we know we got a guard of the future. All signs pointing to quickly as the point guard of the future. And right now, under Rose's tutelage, I can see that happening. Now he may not get the start this year because Payne is really locking in, but Payne is on a 1-year deal. You get what I'm saying? So anything could potentially happen next year, whether they choose to bring Payne back or not.
It's true.
You know, it's what it is. But at least you know you have a Rose on your team who you're going to re-sign and you're going to bring on for the foreseeable future. So,
Yeah.
he'll probably retire as a Knick. As long as Tibbs is here, he'll be here. So, and the same, in my opinion, goes with Gibson. Not a bad thing.
No,
you know.
it's not. No, Taj is definitely he's a good influence on those guys in the locker room. Yeah, and helps the bigs too.
Funniest thing I heard in like the Knicks media world was folks talking about like, man, like, this, I understand Tibbs likes his guys, but Jesus, what are we gonna do? We're gonna call Joakim Noah to come back. He's still on the contract. And I was crying. I was like, you never know. It's like, yeah, that was funny.
Like, I mean, at some point,
Like,
you got to
hey,
move
the
on.
guy, you might as well bring him in. We need the size.
I don't know, man. So at some point, you gotta walk away, and then he's the guy I would walk away from. No, no.
When I heard that, I was crying. I was like, "That's hilarious." But like those guys, they build a bond. They love Joaquin and Gibson. They'll like that core.
Hmm.
Those core guys, they played with each other, so they got mad respect for each other. But that was funny though. I heard that, I was crying. I was like, "That's funny."
No,
Um,
I'm okay. The only guy from that regime that I would want to bring back would be Jimmy Buckets. You bring back Jimmy Buckets.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It looks like Jimmy just wants to get his own thing going. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
He wants to do his own thing. But you never know. You never know what that may look like in the future.
it's true. Well,
But
I did want to I wanted to touch on that Miami game because I'm feeling great about things right now. I love what they did to
uh,
the Wizards. That was a nice blowout game. Then they play Houston, which was another blowout game. They withstood the runs, and they just can't. The second unit for the Knicks looking great, but that
yeah,
game against Miami and the way the refs did us dirty, it's not sitting
it was
well.
bad, man. I know, I know.
That
That
female
was a
ref,
tough
that female ref with the black short hair, they were killing
one.
her, man, in the memes, man. Everybody's pissed off at her. Yeah, I don't know
Like,
what
who
happened.
is what is she
Yo,
doing?
what is she looking at? Yo, these calls. I know there was one point where there was one call that was clearly off of Miami, and
Right? Oh,
Randall,
off the
yeah,
foot,
yeah.
right?
And Randall was
Yeah.
like, "What are you talking about?" And it was crazy. It was bad.
But you know what I don't understand see, that's why I'm like, you could replay stuff under 2 minutes, right?
Right.
But on a crucial play like that, you should be able to, like, okay, if you wasn't sure, okay, you should be able to take a quick, referee timeout and go get that check to make sure you make the right call. Because that to me, you just lose momentum at some point, like they lost some momentum going into that, after that play. But there was a lot of calls, even like early on, there was like a timeout called, and the young lady who everyone's attacking or hitting on the memes, she didn't hear it. So I guess she was
Yeah, I
saying
saw
it
it when she
was,
was like, yeah, I
out of
saw.
bounds. So she was above her element that day.
I
But
don't like it,
the
man.
other guys too. There are other guys. The guys
Oh
weren't
yeah,
as good. They're horrible too. They was like, come on, man, what are y'all watching? Brandon was getting beat up. Wasn't getting any calls. So I don't know, man.
it
I
wasn't.
wasn't happy.
Yeah, it wasn't good at all. I wasn't happy either, and I just think that it'd be nice if there was someone who polices the refs. Now, it'd be great, like if there's someone who
That was
watches all
Miami,
these
though,
games.
wasn't it? They were
It was
in Miami.
Miami. Yeah,
Yeah,
it'd be great if
yeah, yeah.
there's
Because in
somebody
New
who
York, you
watches it.
have it. Well, in New York, we have that. We have a situation in New York where all the games are monitored by some chief referee or something like that, and then they get to I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they get to protest the game. If
Oh
you
well, I
you
think the
know
Knicks can do that. I mean, I think any team can do that anywhere. It's
regardless.
just yeah, it's just the whole thing is that I would like it to be one of those where if a call just looks phantom, you know. Like there's a meme going, well, not a meme, like a highlight going around of another game, another basketball game, where the guy
Right.
ran right past him, didn't touch him at all, and then the guy flopped
Yeah.
back and they called the call. Like those things should be an automatic
Right.
reversal. Oh, we
Right.
seen it up top. Nope, no, that's not gonna work.
Yeah. Yeah. Like LeBron, right? LeBron doing the same thing. He flopped and got the
Yeah,
call. I was like,
which I
what?
think
What?
they penalized him for that.
Penalized. They should be penalizing guys for that. But you know, yeah, referees should also have the option to look above the screen and see. And if a player calls it out, so you should have a quick second, like, okay, let's re, let's get this right. You know what I mean? Regroup the team and take a look at the replay. I
Yeah,
think that
because they
should be
show
an option.
highlights. They show highlights after every play, pretty much. You can see
Yeah,
it. You look up.
absolutely. That's what
Hey,
they do, especially after during timeouts. Be like, you see,
yeah, yeah,
and
you're
usually
right.
those calls end up coming after timeouts, right? Like,
Right.
so it's ridiculous. I don't know, man. They got to do something.
Well, I
So
mean, it is what it is, man. Like that's one of those things you're going to deal with. Every team goes
right,
through it at certain points. Hopefully, you just want to be one of those teams that doesn't have it happen to you that much, but it's going to happen.
right.
You know.
But it's also a good point, I think. And I heard this on the right after the game, and there was a lot of like right after the game, the post game, Alan Hahn was hot, and but he did make a really good like he assessed it in a way that it made very good sense. It's like if you come out, you can't just leave it. You can't be close enough to let the referees affect the game. You know what I mean? In moments like that, you have to
Right.
build on leads that you have, and once you build on those leads, you have to be effective in your defense because at some point you need to hit the open shots. Like you gotta knock down those open shots, and that's what kept Miami into it because we were right there. We knocked down some of those shots. We win this game, and it has nothing to do with the refs at that point. So I think he made a great point, valid point there. And that's something they're gonna live. They're a young team, so they'll learn, they'll live, they'll see this as an experience that they don't want to see again. Like okay, we can't leave that. Especially if they run into those same referees again in Miami
Facts.
later on,
And
because they
you
all.
gotta learn.
Yeah, I think the referees stay right. Referees are just like
Yeah,
stay
yeah.
within the.
They're in certain areas so that they can referee the games in these certain regions, so it's not a lot of
Okay,
traveling and stuff. But at certain points, you got to learn. Like the example was, what's his name? Oh, the shooting guard, Tyler
what
Hero.
team?
Tyler
Okay,
Hero.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
He hit us with the Reggie Miller twice. In the first game, he
Right,
did it, and in the second game, you see him running that
right.
little curl. You got to
Yep.
stop that. At the end
Yeah,
of
you
the
gotta
game, don't
close
let him
out.
do that.
You gotta close out, yeah. But like those are one of those things when that. But Tyler Hero is very another crafty Kentucky
Yes, he
player.
is. Yeah,
They build them out there. It's like they know how to draft. They but yeah, real crafty player. But he's really solid when it comes off of his pick and pops. And I think he also like he started really like he lost his starting position, right? And then coming into the Knicks game, he actually started playing a lot better. So I think he just played up. He was like, okay, time to show out. Against the
yeah.
Knicks team. So
Well, I mean, listen, one of those learning experiences that they have to go through. Once again, they're still primarily a young team,
right,
and this is what you get in the season. Hopefully by
right,
the
right.
time the season is over, you've seen enough of this stuff that you know how to
True,
act. You know,
true, 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 true. So I'm curious. I'm curious. Who's your stock rises and stock fallers?
it's funny. I was just about to say that. I
Yeah.
was just about to say,
I'm very curious to know who you're thinking of.
um, well, how about I say who my stock riser is first?
Yeah.
And then we'll see what yours is, and then we'll go with the stock faller. My stock
Mm-hmm.
riser, which is, I think it is. It's funny because he's actually playing the same way he played in Detroit and averaging the same amount of points, but the impact is so much greater with the Knicks. Stock riser is
Right.
Derrick Rose. I think
You just took the words right out of my mouth because I had to because
yeah.
last week I was like, I'm not feeling this, right? And last
Hmm.
week I wasn't feeling the trade, I
I
wasn't feeling
know.
the move, and I was like, this is just gonna take everything away from quickly. So I have no other choice but to choose Derrick Rose as my
Yeah.
stock riser because this is not what I expected. You know what I mean? Like I expected him to score buckets, but as far as the maturity, as far as like the camaraderie that he's bringing to the Knicks, like I didn't expect that to happen so quickly. No pun intended.
Mm,
Like
so it's good there.
literally happen so quickly. You know what I mean? So, and that's with both Toppin and Quick. You know, like just bringing them in, like you said earlier today, where he had to have. I think he had dinner with them, right, or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. He had dinner with them
I
and
believe so. And then he had a conversation with them. And stuff. So I think that's super dope, you know. And I'm sure both kids are excited to be around someone like that, you know, and just take all of that in, you know, absorb all of that information that he's given to them, you know. That's dope.
yeah, no,
But
it's
yeah,
great.
we're on the same boat there, brother.
I, something tells me that when it comes to stock fallers, we're not going to be thinking the same person. Um,
Let's see.
let's flip it over to you this time. And who do
Okay.
you have as the person you think their stock fell this week?
Stock fallers is will continue to be Rivers for me.
Hmm.
Just because he's just fell out of the lineup, even to the point where Knox is coming in before him now. Um, and again, I don't know if that's injury. I don't know if that's, just because of his play. But we do know it is not because of his attitude, because he's out
Right.
there, he's chat, he's clapping it up for his teammates. He's talking to his teammates. He's saying all the right things, continuing, even though he's less in the spotlight now with Derrick Rose on the team. He's not getting as many minutes in front of the camera, but he's
Right.
saying all the right things. He's doing all the right things, and it looks like he's being a pro's pro. So
I agree with that.
I hope he has a second chance at maybe getting some extra minutes, maybe filling in for some people from time to time. But I would like to see what he's capable of doing with Peyton on the floor. Same thing
Mhm.
with Rose from time to time. I think he could bring it. I think he still got it. Um, and hopefully he's healthy. Because if he's not healthy, then we're only getting a quarter of what he could potentially do. We've seen him in the bubble hit 40. We've seen him in spurts hit 20. What he had 25 in that one quarter,
Yeah.
something like
Yep.
that. Like
Yep.
he has the ability. So that he will still continue to be my faller, and has nothing to do with him personally. I just think that right now he's just isn't getting the minutes. So yeah, what do you think? Who are you going with?
Um. Uh.
We're on the same page. We're on the same
w-
page.
We are not on the same page.
Ah, then we were gonna go 2 for 2.
Now, actually, you may not agree with me here, but my faller is RJ Barrett. I think,
I could see that. I could see
yeah,
that.
because I think even prior to the Derrick Rose trade, I just wanted to pull up his numbers, because I couldn't remember exactly. You know,
Like
he was playing
9, 10.
well. He at certain
Yeah,
points there, he was 20, 20, 19, 22, 28, 21.
yeah,
Right? He had a bad game, 8,
yeah.
whatever.
Right.
Then it was 17, 24, 23, and then we start to see a little bit of a change. 14, 17, 18, 3, 13, 8, 7.
Right.
So
Right.
I feel like this is important time for him because the guy's, he's got all the talent in the world. He just has to understand how to play the game throughout every piece of adversity or every different change that comes at him. And I don't know if he's
Right.
mastered that yet. I noticed, I think I mentioned it last time that I think I mentioned it, that I feel like he seems emotional to me sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
He lets things in that I think he should try to block out and just continue
Mm-hmm.
to play his game. But I feel like this is another important time for him, and Tibbs is looking at him to see how he plays now that Derrick Rose is on the team. Because now since Derrick Rose has
Right.
been there, he hasn't been scoring. He's been trying to do other things to help the team, but you know, 8 points, 4 steals. Four assists, 3 rebounds, 2 steals. He's been trying.
What's his minutes looking like? What's his
Uh,
minutes looking like? Are they
minutes.
dropping because of his time here?
Well, 22 minutes last game, 25 before, 26 before that. He's still playing a decent amount of minutes, to do something. So that's the thing. Like, I think he's trying to figure out where he fits. It's tough because now that you got Rose there, that's a guy with the ball. He's facilitating, but could also score his own shot. Then you got Quickly. He's getting
Right.
Obi involved. Randall's getting his. Where does RJ get
There's a
his?
lot more touches though too, which is
Yeah,
interesting. Like a lot more players are scoring with the
right,
second unit, or when Rose is on the court, you're starting to see the ball, matriculate to other people. Where Payton and you're starting to see Payton also score a lot more. His last 3 games,
right.
he's scoring above 15, which is kind of around his average now too. He's around 16 to 18 points. When he's on a good night, you know what I mean. So.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know. I agree. I'm gonna agree with you saying that I understand that he is one of those guys who you got to look at and you say, okay, what's up? But I don't know. There's something about his game that I feel like, and that's why I'm saying when I look at Barrett and I put Barrett and Bill together, because he's not scoring, and if
Mhm.
he's not scoring, he's still locked in defensively because he was. When it wasn't Peyton Garden Wall, it was Barrett.
Right, right.
So you
But
gotta be, you know,
I think that's part of that is, obviously the team working together, them talking to him, working with him. Because another reason why I said this, because I knew I was going to say this, I just had a feeling that when we were able to do the podcast, he was going to be my faller because of just
right,
how things have looked. Um, in the Miami game, that was the first Derrick Rose game. And if you
right,
notice, in the fourth quarter, RJ was not in there
right,
down the stretch,
right. It was
and he was
Rose,
he
right.
was he was on the bench, and Rivers
Mm-hmm.
was rubbing his shoulder, putting his hand on his back, like trying to trying to keep him in the game because
Keep
this
him
is
in
the
the game,
first
right,
moment where he's not on there when he's used to being there. So it's obviously it was
right,
affecting his psyche a little bit. He wasn't feeling good about it.
right. Plus, he was against Butler, who had him in foul trouble. Like Butler
Yeah,
and Bam were like on the line all day throughout that entire first game. It was like, what? Like, come on. And then that was like 2 games of horrible refereeing.
yes,
Like,
sir.
like the foul calls were totally lopsided in that first game. The second game they were better at the foul calls, but they made all the other mistakes,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
he
So
couldn't win with those.
yeah, I think like I said, he'll be fine. I'm just for right now
Yeah,
for this week. He just didn't have a good week, and
yeah, yeah,
but I'm sure he'll be fine. He's
yeah.
going to be
Uh,
a strong part of this team for I would hope for a while, for
right,
years.
right, right. Unless he gets traded for Beal, God.
You never know. I don't know. I
You
hope
never
not.
know.
I hope not.
But
Listen, man. Well, what are we looking like as far as schedule goes coming up?
schedule. Yeah, yeah. Let's go. Let's look at the schedule.
And
I'll pull that up.
while you're pulling that up, I was just thinking about the fact that you know, I feel like it's been a tale of two cities because the Nets have been I mean they played pretty good recently, but they've been having some struggles themselves with the best team that you could put together in a heartbeat. So
Listen, they are one of those teams that everyone is like, look, is either championship or bust. So at this point,
yeah,
look, they don't play enough defense to be a championship team, in my opinion.
I agree with you there. They're gonna have to
They
do
give up
something.
so many points.
All right, look at this. Okay,
So
so
this is when we're gonna get fat. Oh yeah.
I like the way it looks. I like the way it looks. Now we got the Hawks, then the Magic, and then the Spurs. Oh, and then Timberwolves
And
are this week too.
Timberwolves.
All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
man.
Well, You know,
You want to go all the way? You want to talk all the way through Sunday?
if I'm yeah, I might as well just do it just to get it done. Because if I'm
Okay,
looking at
okay.
it, I think the Knicks could beat the Hawk team. I think that could be a
Yeah,
yeah, it could be a victory.
that's
Uh,
definitely a victory.
oh wow,
That's a definite. I ain't scared of Young, man. I'm sorry. I just ain't
I,
scared of that. I ain't scared of him nor that team.
oh man, I ain't scared of you people. So then we got the Knicks and the Magic. I think the Knicks can beat the Magic too. The Magic have been
That's two.
playing you know, not the greatest basketball,
And that would be four in a row.
which would be nice. But then you get the Spurs. The Spurs is
That's
always
a
a
well-coached team. Or
Spurs
is
is
it
always a
well-coached team?
tricky team, man. They're tricky. They're a good fundamental team, and they may not have all the pieces to compete at the elite level, but they're
Hmm.
still a good NBA team, a quality product.
Right. Are we at home or we away? That
Home.
is an away game. Or a
No,
home
no,
game
home.
or away?
Yeah,
That's
home.
a home game.
You
Okay.
know what? That's a toss up. I like that game because that's going to be another one of those good games to see where the Knicks stand. If they
Yeah.
if they if they beat those other two teams, that's four in a row, and beat the Spurs to make it five in a row, I feel really.
That's a what they call those. That's a meter, like a meter game, like a
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like I know
I
what you're
forget what
saying.
they. It's a litmus test.
Just
Just
uh,
saying.
yeah, yeah,
But
no,
that's
yeah,
one of
yeah.
those you gotta scale up a bit, So
I see what you're saying.
um
Um,
yeah. What are you thinking though?
I'm thinking they could beat the Spurs.
You're
Uh,
going with a win here?
I'm going with a
So
win.
you go five in a row. I love where you're going with this, brother. I love
Um,
where you're going with this.
then we face the Timberwolves.
Ooh, is that the letdown game?
Yeah, I think it's the letdown game. I think Cat's back, and he's just trying to he's missed a lot of basketball, and he's trying to get his feet wet. By the time they play the Timberwolves, he should be back to playing like the Carl Anthony Towns we used to.
Right.
So I think
We ain't
Beasley.
got big bigs.
Nah, yeah, I don't think we see. You always know where I'm going when they got teams with these big bigs. We got some problems. So I think Beasley's been playing really good. They got D'Angelo Russell. They got some pieces there. So I
Mhm.
can see them losing that game. And then we gotta, we'll talk about what happens later after that when we see those Warriors again, the revenge
And we
game.
played. I ain't scaring me either because we play them close.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. That's true.
Although I seen a highlight where Curry makes everything look so easy.
Yeah,
He just tossed it like that. I was like, it's the end of the game. Let me throw that up there and yeah, hit a three.
whatever. Whatever. It is what it is. He had 10 threes in a row or whatever. Whatever. It is what it is.
Listen,
I don't know.
let Draymond beat us. That's all. That's all we
Yeah,
gotta do. Lock in on Curry. Let Draymond beat us. If Draymond can beat us, then hey, more power to you.
facts, facts.
That's
But
how I
that's what
see
I'm
it.
I'm looking at, man. I think we look pretty good. This is like what you mentioned earlier. This is our time where the Knicks can start to make some hay. To can get right over here with some of
Get
these
right.
teams.
Yeah, I mean, we'll be right there, like moving up the ladder. So we get that would be what that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wins in a row and a potential loss. But with 5 wins in a row, what that'll bring our record to?
Oh, it's a good question. No, 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 no. Um,
Let's see here. I'm gonna stop sharing. We can talk about where we be at the record, likewise.
they're 13 and 15 right now. That would make them 18 and 15, 18 and 16.
18 and 16, 2 games over 500. I like that. I like that. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
man.
looks nice,
That looks
man.
nice going into, like that would probably bring us to, like close to March, right? Like where we at there? No, that would be the end of February, and so
Yeah,
February
I'm looking
23rd.
20. Yeah, yeah.
That's looking nice.
It's not bad, not bad. I think we might be on to something here, man. We cooking, we cooking.
Yeah, man, we cooking. I really enjoyed this day, man. This is a good combo. I appreciate you for having me,
Yeah,
bro.
man. No, it's always good. It's always good. And thanks to everybody else for tuning in once again. We're at
Yeah,
episode 9. We keep churning them out. Definitely tune in. Hit that subscribe button, that like
that's
button.
right.
Hit the notification bell so next time something drops. That'd be great. And we just want to keep reminding you guys that we're here to bring you that content. We're still Nick fans. Just right now,
Still
we're,
Knicks fans.
we're gonna stay Nick fans. Not just
We're
still,
on the
we're gonna
high
stay
though.
Nick fans.
We on a high level. We're on a high right now, like no other. So I'm looking forward to that, man. Reach out to us on Twitter, right? That's still Nick fans. If you got any questions, you think you want us to cover a few things that we may not be covering right now, hit us up. Let us know how we can do that. Or if
Yeah,
you have any ideas to change up shows or whatever, we're
we're
open.
always here. We're always here. We thank you for all the feedback, and also check us out on Instagram at Still Nick Fans as well. You know,
Talk about it.
we we we, we out here. We out here.
You're doing big things, man.
All right, brother. Yo, once again,
All right.
it's my pleasure.
Yeah,
And
always,
thanks for always being there for me to chop it up with, bro.
all the time. All right. Take care. Have a great night. Blessings.
Take it easy.